Rock, then you rock, I say. Rock, then you rock. Go the other way, I say. Go the other way. Hello, I am Silvana, also known as Conversational Lush. That's where you can find me on Instagram if you feel like it. If you don't, that's okay. I'm not here for that. I'm here to talk about Underground. This show is impeccable. It's amazing, okay? It should be required in every school, every job. We should all be watching it on lunchtime, okay? This show is amazing. And I'm a true stan. And that's the only reason why I'm here right now. Because when I'm a stan of a show, I watch it, then I get on the Googler and I Google it, then I read about it, then I try to watch reviews about it, and then I comment about it, all up until the next episode because that's how obsessed I get. And I'm obsessed with this show right now. So, I mean, I've been watching from the beginning. We're up to episode 8, Grave. And I love how last episode was called Cradle. Cradle to the Grave, you get it? And Cradle was all about the babies and coming of age. And for the adults, it was all about sacrifice. Several adults made sacrifices. Elizabeth sacrificed her body. Henry sacrificed his life. Um, James sacrificed, Sam sacrificed himself for James. He got those lashes. And for Cradle, I just want to talk about some things that may have not been so obvious because there's a lot of innuendos with Underground. And I wanted to touch base on those and have you guys comment back and clarify some things for me and hopefully clarify some things for you. And then I'll get into Grave. So Cradle, the candy was everywhere. And I found that candy in Walgreens if anybody wants it. They do have that candy. But whenever you saw that candy, you know some sugar honey iced tea done went down or was about to go down with that episode. Um, it opened up straight from the gate. Bam. It hits you. That Cradle hits you from the very beginning. Now, some things that I noticed. With Boo and Moses storyline, did Moses get killed by the Indians? Or did Moses get killed by the slave owners, catchers, or are we still confused like me? Let me know what you think because I couldn't tell from Boo's flashbacks what happened to her. Now, Steen, I don't know if you guys caught this, but when Steen was tending to Sam's wounds, she goes on to talk about how he's out there looking like, she says the name, I forgot the name, but it really was her husband and James's father. She's like, you know, you're out here, Sam's father, I'm sorry. I'm always confusing Sam and James, and I need to stop because I don't want to confuse y'all because I do know what I'm talking about, and I don't want you to think I don't. So she's tending to Sam's wounds after he took lashes for James and telling him that he looks just like her husband. And I'm assuming that he might have died probably protecting James out in the field because that's what she was alluding to. She's like, you looking like him out there, and she's about to cry. So I'm thinking that her husband, since we know she did have a husband or a man, we know that something happened to him, and I'm thinking he must have got killed or he died trying to protect the kids in the field, sort of like what Sam was doing for James. Pay attention, y'all. They do be saying some things. Let me know if you think that as well. Okay, got something else for you. We're gonna move forward. All right. So again, last episode was all about the kids, and it left off with TR telling Master that Sam ran away because he got pissed off at James. This episode, Grave, we don't see anything of James, but it doesn't open up as hard as Cradle did. So I'm thinking everything's gonna be okay. I'm thinking Sam running actually helped because Master does not need Pastor to know about this. And it opens up with Ernestine serving Tom's brother, Elizabeth's husband. He went to go visit Tom because Tom has a big announcement and he's trying to get that vote, and today's the day. And ain't this some shit? The only reason why Elizabeth was targeted by the crazy man that is obsessed with this catching slaves and thinking that, you know, Elizabeth and her husband are down with the get down is because her husband wasn't there. If he would have been there, she would have never had to sacrifice her body because he wouldn't have came at her like that with her husband there. So Tom is really, literally the reason why everybody's lives are falling to shit inadvertently. Okay? So anyway, Tom's brother gives Steen the heads up that her daughter and the Making Seven, they ain't no longer the Making Seven, but that the Bacon 7 runaways are safe and they're in Kentucky somewhere. And Stina's like, whew, thank the Lord. So I'm like, whew, thank the Lord, she happy, we good. Cuts to her and Massa in the hallway, and Massa's like, listen, I can't deal with James. With Sam running away. Pastor cannot find out about this. And she's like, ain't nobody gonna find out, it's just between me and you. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's back. We need that to be back so that they're safe and sound. So I was happy about that. It seemed like, she was working her way back in with Master. He wasn't letting the pastor dictate how he was going to be with Ernestine anymore. And she might have been getting some leverage back because at this point she had lost a lot of leverage. So I was like, whew, things seem to be looking up. Things seem to be rolling. And then it cuts to Tom's brother saying he got to jet, but he'll be back later. And then him and Pastor go outside to look at the decorations for what's happening later. And here comes some big old fat hunky, a big one, with some cart. And Master's like, well, you're here early. And he's like, well, I ain't here early, but I found this. Pulls the sheet over, and it's freaking Sam. You know what? I was just, at that point in my heart, I was just too through that Sam got freaking caught. Because I thought he was going to catch up with Noah and Rosalie and booing him. No, he there freaking tied up and back in bondage on the plantation in front of the pastor. So we already know some shit's about to go down because this pastor is so ruthless that do you guys notice that his servant doesn't even have a tongue? He must have cut his servant's tongue out. He's so ruthless that his servant was up there mixing paint with his own blood to get it the right color, okay? That gives you an idea on how ruthless and how, I guess, mean this pastor was and how much he looked at slaves with such little regard. Cut out his own servant's tongue and got the man mixing stuff and blood to make him a paint. Okay, this is some craziness, all right? So the gentleman that brought Sam back talks about, you got to do something. Maybe if you hang him, if you would have hung the other one, Pearly May, this wouldn't have happened. And he's like, well, I ain't doing none of that. But I'm going to cut him. I'm going to cut him, and I'm going to make sure that nobody else run. Don't worry, I got this. So I'm like, whatever. Next, I'm like, whatever. He loves Sam. He pissed, but he just gonna focus on winning this election. That was a big hit, but he gonna find a way out of it. Then I see later on, and for that same storyline, Ernestine walks into the hut, cabin, whatever that is, where Noah was first at, and then Sam asks her, "They made you do it?" And she was like, "No, I volunteered." And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I'm lost. It is no way coming to my brain that Ernestine volunteered to be the one to cut Sam's Achilles heel, because that was the punishment for running away, to cut his Achilles heel. And she tells him, listen, it got to be done right, because if it's done wrong, if it's cut too deep, it's going to get infected and it ain't never going to heal. So I'm going to be the one to do it, because I'd rather do it and do it right than somebody do it and do it wrong, and then you really be messed up. And he's like, you know what? It don't even matter at this point, because I'm going to be a cripple. I'd rather be dead than a cripple. She's like, no, you don't. Don't speak like that. We're going to survive this. We're going to get through it. And he was like, that's my point. We seem to keep surviving, but this is not a life. Basically, he's like, that's what I'm afraid of. Like, I'm going to make it through this. We're going to keep making it through this, and our lives are still going to be full of shit. I felt him on that one. Master and Pastor come in to watch the debacle go down, because the pastor is a sadistic fuck, like I told y'all clearly. And Steen pulls out the knife. Sam is laying on a table. Then he looks up at Master with almost a smile on his face, because Sam has this weird innocence about him. He's he has a lot of philosophy to him also. And we know that Master he was soft on him. He looks at him. She pulled out this long fucking knife. I mean, the shit was real long, and it looked not that sharp. And gets ready to cut her own son's Achilles heel. See, I have a child, and I honestly don't think I would be that strong enough. I honestly would have had to let somebody else do it, because there's no way in hell that I would have been able to do it. But that's a testament to her strength. She would go to no end to make sure her kids is okay, even if it means her having to inflict the pain to make sure that it's gonna be done right so he don't die. But at the end of it all, when she about to do it, Master was like, "No, I'm not doing this. No." Pastor was like, "Excuse me, I'm not doing this. Bye." And he walks out, and Master walks out pissed behind him. But that scene, you guys tell me, because I was like this, I was cringing, I was like, I happened to watch it online, so I had to pause it a good 5 times. I wanted a drink, I needed ice. I don't smoke, but I wanted a blunt. I was so exhausted at the end of that scene. And when Master pardoned him, essentially, I was like, one for the team. One for the team, because we've been taking a lot of L's lately. So I was like, whoop whoop. And then, just to talk a little bit about Rosalie's side story, she's not with the Noah dying. He's sick. He done got a bullet wound. She takes out the bullet. She tells Kato we ain't leaving him after he's badgering her, because we already know if you ain't of help, Kato will leave you or kill you. That's how he is. If you can't help him, if he finds no use for you, deuces. But she told him, I'm the only one who knows where the railroad stop is at, honey. So you can keep it smoothing, and you're going to get caught because you don't know where you're going. Or you can come along with my train, my ride, and my plan and stick it out with me, because I ain't going nowhere without Noah. And he gets with it. They go rob a abandoned store. They put on some fancy clothes, and they look beautiful. The wardrobe is amazing. They had on a Victoria era outfits, and they looked like a handsome, dashing, smashing couple, I must say. They looked really good, honestly. They did make a good couple. And they run upon a doctor's house. And their main plan is to get in, get some medicine for Noah, dip out, and then, make it to the next stop. And the plan starts to unravel because the doctor helps her. They use a storyline that she's pregnant, but he's like, "You good? This is normal," and he's about to kick them out. And that's when she starts pulling out her inner steam, honey. She got her inner steam, and she was like, "Oh, this is beautiful. This is amazing. Is this blah blah blah?" And she's talking about the decorations and charming him, and he's just eating it up like pudding. He eating it up so much that he couldn't even get enough of it and asked them to come to dinner. And Kato was like, "Well, all right. I see you work that." She also charms her way with the head mistress, the steen of that house, to get the key to get the medicine. But at the same time, the slave master and the bounty hunter, August and the other bounty hunters are on their trail. They are so good. I must admit, those bounty hunters, they are good as hell. They be on them. So they're onto them. They saw the store broken into. They found the old clothes, and they called the town sheriff and tell the sheriff what's up. So the sheriff was like, "Oh, all right, well, I'm gonna keep an eye out. We're gonna find them. We're gonna go door to door." But he don't go door to door. He just go to dinner at his brother's house, which is a doctor, where where Rosalie and Kato happen to be. But of course, so they're like, "Oh shiznit, who's this guy? We just wanted to get the medicine." And he already has a background story about these missing runaways, and he got these two niggas all of a sudden. But they're so eloquently speaking, because we know that Kato has been around white folks for a minute too. We know Rosalie has been in a house the whole time, and on their plantation, the kids, the mulatto kids or the house slaves, play with the slave owners' kids for a long time, up until they can't play with them no more, and they learn a lot by that. And so they are questioning them, but these two are killing it. They are knocking down every question without a problem. And even when the sheriff goes ahead and asks Ernestine about Rosalie about her past, she has a bomb lie that her mom is a mulatto slave, and her father was a white man, and he later on freed her mama, but that she got some tutoring and education. That's why she's so cultured. She couldn't go to school, and she gave him some sass when she said it. She was like, because if quadroons were to go to school, I would have had that. I still got that education as if, I went. Then he calls her bluff and was like, "Well, go ahead and play something on that piano then." Honey, she plays a beautiful piece. And when she plays this piece, Kato, that's when it clicked that he loves her. And he always loved her. And that's why he's been acting this way towards Noah, when he realized that she was sweet on Noah. And he needs love. Kato is in need of love. He hasn't let it in. And that's what led him to do some really messed up things, like kill Zeke. It's a part of survival, but he also doesn't have any sort of love. And at this point, he's in love with Rosalie. His eyes, he even walks over there. The doctor, he's like, I gotta leave. I got something in my eye. He was crying. That was code for I'm crying. It was beautiful. And then at the same time, he asked them for the papers. Now, at this point, you guys tell me, we know that Cradle pulls out the papers and he gets nervous because he can't read. So I thought that Rosalie couldn't read either, but then she realized that this guy don't know their name, so who the hell cares? And then she just throws it on the table. But a friend of mine has said, no, Rosalie does read. Let me know, because we know she's full of tricks. Remember, she could swim. Now she can play the piano, and she knew what the furniture was. And she might be able to read. But why didn't she read the drinking card map? Let me know what you guys think. If you think she could read, let me know about that. Then it cuts to them basically like Noah's in the field. The reason why they didn't get caught with the slave with the freedom papers is because one of the townsmen runs in the house and is like, "Yo, one of the runaways is out there. We just seen him. Let's go." Sheriff was like, "Oh, bump y'all by, niggas. I'm about to get this runaway that I know for sure is a runaway." They know it's Noah. Rosalie is like, "Yo, Kato, go help Noah. I'm gonna get this medicine. We got to zip." Noah is at this point, as we all know, a little cray cray right now. He is batshit crazy. He's crazier than August's wife. Okay, he is seeing Henry everywhere. R.I.P. Henry. He was such a sweetie pie. He's seeing Henry everywhere because of this fever, and he's out in the field, and that's how that whole thing happened. This is where we realize that August can't read, y'all. This whole time I just thought August was the man, because I do remember the episode where he's at the post office and the postal worker was reading a letter to him from the hospital when they were asking for more money. I remember that. And then he said, "Okay, well, here, we're gonna write them back." And he had the postal man write a letter. I just thought he was the shiz not eating, was like, "I'm gonna dictate this letter to you. I ain't got time, and you're gonna read my letters to me because I'm the man." No, he can't read. That's why he asked the other bounty hunter to read that letter. This whole time, he thought the letter said that they owe money on the land and that they're about to get kicked off. And that's what he told Ben when Ben asked him, "Well, why the hell are we out here even chasing these slaves?" Remember? He asked him that. And he was like, "This ain't personal. This is what we'll do." And tell me again if you guys think that August and Ben's helper is their slave. Tell me if you think that's the case. Because Ben says, remember, Ben was like, I need to know about that. Because Ben is like, "Well, if this one runs, would you chase him?" I'm still stuck on that one. So anyway, he asked the guy to read the letter. And the guy's like, "Oh, your land, the bank is basically telling me that your land is plentiful of mercury. That's why his wife is batshit crazy. And that's why his horses were dying. And we're going to give you this money because we want this land because it's good for mining gold." So in that instance, he realizes he don't have to no longer, that's my phone. He doesn't have to no longer hunt down these slaves like he felt like he had to do to save the land and to pay for the hospital bills for his wife. And at that moment, he lets Rosalie go with the other bounty hunter, and he leaves and tells Ben, "Feed the horses and make sure they water because we about to dip." Now, let me know your predictions, guys, because my prediction is that August is going to end up helping them. Because if not, he could have still just took Rosalie and got the little $1,000 anyway and just was like, "All right, at least I'm going to have a good start." But he knows that he wanted to help them. And so if he would have taken her and helped her, they would have blamed him. So I think he's being sly because August is crafty and he's a trickster and a slickster. So I think he let them go, and he told that man too, they gonna come back for her. They just ain't doing it right now, but they is gonna come back, and you better be ready. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think's gonna happen on next week's episode. I tried to catch the preview, but it wasn't really telling me anything. It ends. Grave ends with steam in a hot box underground, and those things are extremely accurate. Hot boxes were used on plantations and even used in southern prisons as a form of punishment, and many died because of it, because the heights reach sometimes over 140 degrees, and our body cannot take that sort of heat without any water. And I can't believe he put Steen in a hot box. Tom turned all the way Tom really went left. Like, I hope the pastor leave, he gets her out, but I don't know. Things will never be the same between them two. He hung Sam. Oh, this is what I want to tell y'all also. Sam is Tom's son. Let me tell you why. When he tells her, your kids is going to be the death of me, and she was like, talking about Sam, because he had just ran also, and she was like, well, they ain't mine on my own. They ain't my own, meaning they aren't her only. They aren't hers only. She's alluding to the fact that Sam is his. She must have been with her husband at that time, but still dipping in the master pool, or master still dipping in her pool way back then. I think master been fucking her for a long time, and Sam is her baby and his baby. And that's why she was mad when he had a baby with the mistress, the white woman, and tried to name that baby Sam. And that's why he was so soft on Sam, because Sam is his. And that's why he loved Sam so much and gave Sam so much leniency and let Sam kind of just, he really had a thing for Sam, even more so than James and Rosalie, because that was his firstborn. Let me know what y'all think. And I can't wait for next week's episode.